Hello and welcome to DocuMovie Clip. My name is Cecilia, and today I'll take you on a chilling journey into one of the most infamous unsolved crime stories in American history. Behind me, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge, the symbol of San Francisco. But during the late 1960s and early 1970s, this beautiful city wasn't just a place of love, counterculture, and freedom. It was also the hunting ground of a serial killer who terrified the Bay Area, the Zodiac. Over the years, the Zodiac Killer claimed responsibility for multiple murders and taunted police and newspapers with cryptic letters and mysterious ciphers. Officially, he is linked to at least 5 murders, though he claimed many more. In this documentary, we will focus on 3 of his confirmed attacks: David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau, and Brian Hartnell with Cecilia Shepard. We'll also see how these crimes were brought to life in the 2007 movie Zodiac. Let's begin where it all started. The first killings, Lake Herman Road, December 20th, 1968. Lake Herman Road, a quiet, dark stretch of country road on the outskirts of Vallejo, California. This was the Zodiac's first known attack. 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were out for a date.
Sitting, listening to music, talking.
They parked their car near a remote turnout, a popular spot for young couples. But instead of a night of romance, it turned into tragedy. Sometime after 11 p.m., a car pulled up next to them. The driver, the man who would later call himself the Zodiac, approached with a handgun. David was shot at close range, and Betty Lou tried to run, but was shot multiple times in the back. This brutal ambush shocked the community. No one could imagine why 2 innocent teenagers were targeted. In David Fincher's Zodiac movie, the Lake Herman Road murders were carefully recreated. The film crew used areas near Vallejo to capture the isolation of that winter night. Watching the scene, you can almost feel the same dread the teenagers must have felt, alone in the dark with no escape. This was just the beginning of a nightmare. Second murder, Blue Rock Springs Park, Vallejo. Just over 6 months later, on July 5th, 1969, the Zodiac struck again, this time at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. Darlene Ferrin, 22 years old, was a lively, well-liked waitress. That night, she drove to the park with her friend, 19-year-old Mike Mageau. Around midnight, a car pulled up behind them. At first, they thought it was a friend, but instead, the driver returned with a flashlight and a 9mm pistol. He fired several shots through the passenger window. Darlene was hit multiple times and later died from her injuries. Mike, though critically wounded, survived and gave a description of the attacker: a stocky man, light brown hair, possibly in his late 20s or 30s. This was the Zodiac's second official murder, and this time, he made sure everyone knew it. Just 40 minutes later, he called the Vallejo Police Department, calmly admitting, "I did it."
Hello. Here behind me I have the beautiful Blue Rock Spring Park, Vallejo. But in 1969, the second murder took place in this parking lot.
In Zodiac, 2007, this scene was filmed with haunting attention to detail. Fincher and his team wanted the audience to feel the sudden shift from calm to chaos. They chose park locations around the Bay Area to resemble the original crime scene. It was here that the Zodiac's identity began to emerge, not just as a killer, but as someone who wanted control, attention, and fear. The third murder, Lake Berryessa attack, Napa County. September 27th, 1969. Lake Berryessa, about an hour's drive from Napa. A sunny afternoon, couples picnicking by the water, and 2 college students enjoying their day. Brian
There's a public
Hartnell,
park.
20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, were relaxing by the lake when a man approached wearing
Not
an
doing anything,
executioner-style
okay?
hood, sunglasses, and a symbol on his chest, the crosshair, the mark of the Zodiac. He carried a gun and a knife. He tied the couple up and then brutally stabbed them.
Okay, you have everything that I...
Brian miraculously survived, but Cecilia died 2 days later in the hospital. Before leaving, the Zodiac marked the couple's car door with his symbol and the dates of his previous killings, as if it were his signature. This scene in the Zodiac movie was filmed at Lake Berryessa itself, making it one of the most accurate recreations in the film. Fincher insisted on using the real location because of its eerie contrast, a beautiful, sunny setting turned into a place of terror. It's perhaps the most disturbing of all the Zodiac attacks, not only because of its brutality, but also because of the killer's bizarre costume, something rarely seen in the history of American crime. Final segment, the mystery remains. From 1968 to 1969, the Zodiac Killer spread fear across Northern California. In total, he is linked to at least 5 confirmed murders and 2 attempted murders, though he claimed as many as 37 victims. What made the case even more infamous were his letters to newspapers, filled with ciphers, threats, and taunts. Some of those ciphers have never been solved. Over the years, police investigated countless suspects, the most famous being Arthur Lee Allen. But despite decades of investigation, the case remains unsolved. No one has ever been arrested or convicted for the Zodiac killings. The 2007 film Zodiac, directed by David Fincher, captures not just the crimes, but also the obsession of the investigators, journalists, and ordinary people whose lives were forever changed by this mystery. The film was shot on real locations across the Bay Area, from Vallejo to San Francisco, grounding it in the reality of the events. And so, the Zodiac's shadow still lingers here in San Francisco and beyond. A story of fear, obsession, and unanswered questions. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries. I'm Cecilia, and this has been DocuMovie Clip. Stay safe, and never forget the victims.